We are doing May June 2023, paper 4-1. Okay, question 1, as we discussed, very simple. Let's start. We have a source file. For one source file is used to answer question 1 and 2 for question 3. Okay, we have the source files here. We have animal data, color, and data.txt. They're saying that the program reads the data from the file and searches for a specific data. The main program needs to read 25 data values from data.txt into one array called data array. Write code to declare data array. Okay, so in Python, you already know there is no declaration as such. So we can just write it like this, int array, and we'll copy this. In fact, we'll copy this part and paste it in the evidence file, which will serve as the declaration. Like this. Then in the next part, they're saying amend the main program to read the contents into data array. Okay, now we have to initialize it to empty, and then we have to write a procedure. Okay, so they're saying that this should be in the main program. Let's comment it as main program. So we have to use try and except whenever we have to use file handling. We'll open the file in read mode and we'll eventually close the file. And let's just get all the lines for line in F. Let's get the current is equal to line dot strip, remove the spaces, and let's print the current lines. Otherwise, we'll print that the file is a file processing error. If I run it, should work. Yes, it says all 10, 4, 5, 13, etc. All the lines from the data file. Let's also check data file manually. It's supposed to have first value should be 10, last should be 0. And that is also the case when we run the program. First is 10, last is 0. So that means the code is working perfectly. Okay, then in part B1, they're saying we have to write a procedure, print array. So we'll go at the top, define print array. They're saying takes an integer array as a parameter. So the name of the integer array is data array. Okay, we're supposed to add the values here. So data array dot append the current value, and we don't need to print the current anymore. It's going into the array. Okay, and it's called data array. You can use any other name. Okay, then they're saying and output the contents of the array in the order they are stored. So we just have to print them in the same line. And there are two ways of doing it. One method is that you can use the print statement and you can do end is equal to space like this. Or the other method is you can append them into a same line, like line plus equal to, and you can have your value converted to string. So however you want to do it. So in order to do this, we have to use a for loop for item in the data array. Since we are just printing the values, we don't need to use the for I in range, and we print the item and we do end is equal to, and instead of going to the next line, it will instead put a space. And now if I run it, it prints all of them in the same line. So this is one method. Or the other method, let's look at it quickly. We'll simply say maybe output is equal to empty string. Then we run a loop for item in data array, and then I'll say output plus equal to item, and every time we'll add a space next to each item, and then I'll simply print the output, and let's see, should give the same output. Yes, same output exactly. So you can use either of these methods. The upper method is easier to write and it takes lesser time to write as well. That is preferable given the timing constraints in the exam. Next part, we have to take a screenshot of the output. So you can use the snipping tool, take a screenshot, paste it. Okay, then we have linear search, very simple. We just have to go through the whole array, linear search. Okay, they're saying takes an integer array and an integer search value. So data array, and let's call it the target value. And then we have to count and return the number of times the search value is found in the array. Just because it's called linear search, it doesn't mean you have to return the index. Instead, in this case, we have to return the count and the number of times it appears. Okay, let's see how many times it appears now. So for that, we will write the code. This is the simplest logic. We'll set the count to 0.
Recently.
So we run a for loop, we go through each value, check if it is equal to target, we increment the count and return count, simple enough. Okay, then they're saying amend the main program, prompt the user to input a value between 0 to 100 and read and validate. Okay, validate always means that you have to use some sort of condition or a while loop here. So you have to keep on taking input until the user inputs a correct value. We will do that in the main. They have not asked us to call print array right now, so we won't. We're going to ask the user to input a value and we'll call the linear search with the data array. So let's call it target because this is the value that we're going to look for. In int input, and they're saying enter target value, which will be between 0 to 100. So let's initially set the target to -1, and while target is less than 0 or target is greater than 100, that is not the case. So we'll keep on repeating until we get the target value between 0 and 100 inclusive. Okay, once this is done, then they're saying call linear search with the validated input, and then linear search will return a response. So response linear search will call data arrays and the target value. Okay, we'll go to linear search, it will return a count, or maybe you can use count here as well. And then you check, they're saying output the result in the format print, the number 7 is found 2 times. So print, we'll use the format string, the number target value is found count number of times like this. Okay, and if we run it, and if I input 7, it says number 7 is found 0 times. Okay, let's check the value as well. We have to call print array on data array. Okay, 7 does exist. Okay, so there is an issue with the count. Let's check. The first error was this, that count is basically, it says shadows from the outer scope count. So we should name this count. Let's name it something else. So there's no confusion. And secondly, as you saw, that we are not converting the value to integer. Okay, so these are string values, whereas we are comparing them against the integer values. So I just need to convert this into an integer here or in the line above. And then if I run it here, so it works perfectly.
सेम बट प्रिंट रेसी क्या साड़ी आपने वो नहीं कर दी